Hi there, name's Todd Bucket Wrench. Nice to meet you. You may be in the market for a camera, but you're about to make the biggest mistake of your life.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
So my channel has been built upon making fun of cameras that aren't good enough, even though each camera I've ever made fun of is more than good enough for me. I see the hypocrisy. I live it. I breathe it. So I just want to impart some wisdom on you. If you're looking for a camera, don't fall into these traps. You may be thinking, there's two ways to look at a camera. One, who cares? It's probably good enough, it's cheap, it's workable, it's easy to use. Cool, I'll get one. Versus, oh my god, this is lacking that spec, but this has it. Sony 4K 120p doesn't overheat. No, the Canon does. Oh, the file size, the files. Now both ways are fun. I like both. I like having something so cheap, it's hilarious to use. And I can make fun of you for having spent so much money when I'm like using a GoPro 6 or something on a cheap gimbal that I found in the dollar store, and a non-essential item I wasn't allowed to buy. Thanks, rules. But admittedly, I also like making fun of cameras for like withholding the odd spec, and then we focus on it, and it's just interesting, like who has the best 4K 120p? Do I need it? No, I don't. No, I don't. I actually filmed some for that Panasonic autofocus song video. I was like, 4K 120p, this is epic. And then I was like, that's too slow. I'll speed it up. I could have done 1080p, 30p, the whole thing. So well, technically for YouTube, you don't need any of these fancy specs. It can be fun to dream and then do it. Like, I like to film wildlife now. I'm a wildlife filmographer. I'm recognized in such magazines as the National Enquirer and the one your daughter writes for her school. I'm in there. That sounded like I should be arrested. But specs can matter if you're doing wildlife like I've been trying to do. Stabilization is everything, and you would think Panasonic lead in the industry, dual stab, unusable. The 100 to 400 with G9, shaky, shakier than my phone. The Fuji, my friend had a Fuji with like the 55 to 200 or something. I was like, this is so much more stable. The zoom ring was rubberized. So fantastic. I'm gonna get that 70 to 300 before you blink. But I guarantee you I could do a wildlife video with my phone. I've done it. I've put footage in there. I got some baby geese. That was just with my phone from like so far away. It has a decent zoom. The P50 Pro deproved it. They deproved my zoom. So I'm not upgrading. What the hell happened to that thing? It's not even a 1-inch sensor. Give me a break. I have no idea what this video is even about. I took one side tangent, that led to an alleyway. We'll never get home. But in today's day and age, like almost every camera is good enough for whatever you need. Like you could get by, you could do a wildlife with any, I don't think there's a camera you couldn't do a wildlife video with, even an M50 with the right lens. Do they even have one for the M system? Probably not, but you could get close enough. Enhanced stab, you're good to go. For simple vlogs, just borrow your grandmother's phone. Like nobody cares. A GoPro, you'll lose the footage. I did a pool video the other day. Lost half of it. Thing was freezing up and I couldn't remove the battery because it's all wet. You can't even yank the battery in that situation. GoPro, you killed me. But isn't it comforting to know that you could start a YouTube channel with pretty much anything and nobody would care as long as you're somewhat entertaining or you offer good advice? The gear doesn't matter, but then it does. And it's fun to focus on and dream. Dream of the specs that you'll never need. I love it. I love the advancing technology. I'm always looking for stuff, the news. There's nothing I need, but dreams are in here. It reminds me of a meeting a professional and an amateur had. They were discussing what was the better gear, the cheap camera that the loser had or the more expensive one. I don't think it was a very valuable conversation, but I wish I could hear it again. Hey Gary, want to go to the marshlands? I got my GoPro, we can vlog. What camera are you gonna bring? Well, something a little better than that. Sorry, I don't mean to make fun of you, Petar, but like what are you gonna get with that? It's gonna be all blocky, a tiny sensor. If you want to look, the people will remember Fuji X-T4. Eterna profile. Unbelievable, 4K 60p 10-bit. So you find that you can see the difference between 10-bit and 8-bit on YouTube. You're seeing it? How many LUT packs from Peter McGregdon do you use? Do you put 2 of them on there? 100% each? The strength? I don't use LUT packs, I make them. A cinematographer once viewed one of my clips on YouTube and he left a comment actually asking if I was for sale because it was so cinematic. There was nothing he had seen up to that point in his life that made him cry, made him laugh, made him call his grandmother and apologize for sucking at his job. She didn't raise him right. But since I use a Fuji X-T4, I'm a cinematographer, and women want me, not for my sexual prowess, necessarily, but I can film my failures in bed, and it'll look good. I just want to have fun. When's the last time we had any fun? It's been 15 years. Every time I look over to you to share a joke, you're looking through the viewfinder, not into my heart. We used to be best friends. We did everything together. And now, everything's a movie. Oh, let me get the sunset. We'll wait here. Mosquitoes killed my baby. Your baby sucked. The least cinematic baby I've ever worked with. Skin tones of a leopard. I had to stack 15 black pro mist filters on here. Still had to shine a light directly into my lens. Frickin' light flares might have covered half the thing. That baby's lucky to be dead. What happened to shooting just because it was fun? Just to look back at the memories we had. It didn't matter what the footage looked like, as long as we got it. It was somewhat stable. The memory stuck right in there. Remember that time me and you pushed Greg into the river and the piranhas were biting him? We filmed that on the GoPro. Sure, we lost half of it. It froze, but some of it was usable footage. And I remember it. Makes me laugh to this day. You're right, Petar. I've lost my way. I put everything into the image quality. I forgot the emotion and the memories and the fun, the friends we made along the way. Those were the ones. Sure, a couple of them died by mosquito attacks. Your baby, I'm sorry about that. That's on me. I knew it was happening. I could have stopped it. I had the neat spray. I was using it to get a mist-like look on the swamp. It was worth it. 10-bit. You want to see the footage? You don't. You're killing my baby as revenge. I get it. I deserve that. If I could give you some useful advice, it'd be just get something that's easy to use and make that your priority. A Canon M50, Sigma 16mm, you're done. You're happy. Not much money invested. Great colors straight out. You don't have to grade shit. Whereas this, do you have any idea what I had to do to get this mediocre image from a Sony color loser scientist from 1971? Sony colors will be the death of me, and this thing cost $75,000. I had to change it to a Canon LUT. A Canon LUT to pretend to be Canon when I could have had one. Canon R at Camera Canada for $1,600. There was an open box unit, my friend, and I didn't pounce. I didn't pounce because the greed in my heart wouldn't let me take another camera into this house. I live with regret every day, my friend. But don't let that be you. If you're thinking, oh, hey, I need this 4K 60p, do you? 1080p 60p has been out for 15 years. I used to think that was top of the notch. I was getting that, I was like, oh, this has 30p, that has 60p. So I filmed in it not knowing what the hell that even meant, just thinking it was higher quality. So all my Canon G7X videos were 1080p 60p for the highest rate. They all looked like a frickin' soap opera. So don't forget, cheap cameras can often look better. They often do. My Fuji looks way better than the Sony in most cases. Not in sharpness or detail or richness of colors, but the actual color science. It's somewhat respectable. A little red and magenta on that one, but I don't mind it. I don't mind. It's fun to shoot with cheap gear. I love using my phone outside for a vlog. It's like, oh, this is just a phone. What are you using? Freaking battle axe? At the same time, it's also fun to have the more expensive gear, full frame setup, the best lens for wildlife. Can you even carry it? I don't know. It's heavy. Even that Panasonic was getting a little heavy on the wrist. I held it. That 1 to 400, that's a bullshit lens. It wasn't even stable. I bet your Fuji's more stable, and so is Canon full frame. Panasonic you suck. The main lesson today is never get a Panasonic camera. Never trust a Panasonic rep. Step on their foot if you see one. And your gear's good enough, but it isn't at the same time. Strive for something better. Don't actually buy it, but do spend hours of your day looking at gear. I've helped you quite a bit. Feel free to pay back the favor by getting the Camera Conspiracies t-shirt. Subscribe.